All right, hey everyone, what's up? Jammer here from Jammer's Wrestling Magazine Collection. And today I'm going to do year one today. We're going to take a look deep into the year of 1989. And we start off with Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Miss Elizabeth on the cover. It's the Hogan Savage Elizabeth Triangle. Will the Mega Woman destroy the Mega Powers? Did it happen? Kind of, right? Was she to blame? Or was it jealousy on Mach's part with the title? I don't know, but there we go. That's a sweet centerfold to Barry Windham, the NWA United States Heavyweight Champion, paying homage to his dad with the glove, the blackjack thing. So, but yeah, right here, right, we start off with a big news story for 1989. Will the Mega Powers be destroyed? And that happened in February of 89, right? That's when they got destroyed at the main event. Next up, the wrestler for January 1989. It is the Horsemen destroyed, but the world title gained. It's the Midnight Express still must prove themselves. So the story behind this is Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard chose to leave the NWA to go to the WWF in the fall of 1988, and they were the World Tag Team Champions. And it was a house show that this match took place on in Philadelphia. Pro wrestler Stevie Richards was in attendance at that show because he said so in an interview on an ECW Hardcore TV in 1997. So this was a big deal, and the Midnight Express, who were the United States Tag Team Champions at the time, defeated Arn and Tully to win the World Tag Titles. So there they are, right there with Jimmy Cornette on the cover. We also got when Andre Savage, the Macho Man, where was Hulk? So in fall of 88, Andre the Giant was getting title shots against Randy Savage as well. Savage was getting the best of Andre. I don't think he was pinning him, but he was definitely beating him by, I believe, countout or disqualification. For Inside Wrestling, January 1989, 10 reasons why Sting cannot defeat Barry Windham. And then that stupid Hogan helmet. Memo to the WWF, ban the helmet or ban Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I remember. I don't know if any of you remember that. I think he had a camera in the helmet. I think he wore it on a Saturday Night's Main Event, too, around that time in 1988. And, of course, we got the Rock and Roll Express must decide split up or shut up. They ended up staying together, I think. Or wait, no. Well, they were together. I think they split up by Robert leaving the NWA. Ricky stayed and Robert went back to Memphis or something. I think that's what actually happened. For Sports Review Wrestling, we got Fantasy Special. Cheryl leaves Jake for Rick. Well, that didn't happen. Cheryl actually left Jake because of Jake's drug addiction. And now they're back together, though. Jake's clean and doing well, and Cheryl and him have rekindled the love, I believe. I think they're getting married again. I thought I heard or read or something like that. So if so, that's pretty cool that after all these years, they're still, they're getting back together and such. Special section, Randy Savage's career in pictures. Let's take a look at that. Let's see where that is. There's Bam Bam. Bam Bam Bigelow should not retain Oliver Humperdinck as his manager. Bam Bam Bigelow should retain Oliver Humperdinck as his manager. Yeah, Oliver Humperdinck and Bam Bam went to the NWA together, too, in 1988, right? So let's see where this is at. This, page 27. See what we got for Mach here. There he is with the WWF title that he did not win at the time. He stole it from Hogan. We got the old Memphis stuff, I guess, or maybe even ICW photos from some of these, too. Did I miss a page here? I feel like oh yeah, I did. So it'd be much cooler if these were like in colored print, but they're not, of course. So yeah, and there's Sweet Sting. Dylan on one side, you on the other. Who will win the tug of war for Sting? I guess J.J. Dillon wanted Sting to be in the Horsemen. I don't know. Next up now, we got February 1989 for PWI. The Lexplosion. I'll take Flair's title and leave him for dead. There's the total package of Lex Luger right there. Let's see what we got for the photo here. It looks to be Jake the Snake Roberts. That picture of Jake the Snake is from either World Class Championship Wrestling or Mid-South Wrestling back in like 1985, 86, or 84 even. Like a kind of an outdated photo. It says here that hold on, I gotta take a look at this, if it's in here. The uncensored photos of Beefcake and Bass. Is that in this thing? Page 46. Let's take a look and see if they actually show this. I don't know if you remember this watching it on WWF Superstars, but oh no, they're not showing that. I thought they're going to show when I don't know if you people remember this who are watching this, but before SummerSlam '88, Beefcake cut Ron Bass's whip. I think it was Betsy or something. And then the following week, Ron Bass came down and took spears to Beefcake's head and bloodied him up on TV. And that was like the first few, like I think that may have been the first time you saw blood on WWF Superstars ever. So that was kind of a big deal. February 1989, The Wrestler. The Road Warriors, Sting, Dusty, and the fans can go to hell. That's right, the Road Warriors are now heels. They've turned their backs on the fans. I'm not too sure what the NWA was thinking, turning them heel. No one wanted to boo the Road Warriors. No one. They were just too big, too powerful, too awesome. You didn't want to boo them. But look up here. It's coming. An Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan showdown. They're predicting it already. And this is, 1989. That didn't happen until 1990, but the prediction was in. Inside Wrestling. For February '89, Tully and Arn will fail under Bobby Heenan. A special analysis by J.J. Dillon. So already, Arn and Tully are now in the WWF. Their first feud was with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. And they were off to the races. And the Road Warriors' message to Barry Windham, leave Sting alone, he's ours to cripple. So, poor Stinger. Not only did he have the Horsemen after him, he now has the Road Warriors. February '89 for Sports Review Wrestling. Wrestling's top champions, what '89 has in store for them. We got Macho Man with the heavyweight title, Warrior with the Intercontinental, Flair with the NWA, and Jerry Lawler with the AWA. So, interesting that the AWA was still seen as a organization here that deserved world title recognition, because I feel like by 1989 the AWA was a shell of itself from what it was. March '89 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, we got the 1988 the year in wrestling. So I guess we should take a look here to see who won what awards. Rookie of the Year went to Medusa Maselli. She got that vote. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year went to Jerry the King Lawler. He got that. Most Improved went to Sting. He took that award in 1988. The Manager of the Year was J.J. Dillon, and there's another sweet shot of the Horseman there with all the gold. Feud of the Year went to Ric Flair versus Lex Luger. So that was a good feud, too, in 1988. They had Great American Bash and Starrcade matches that year. Most Popular Wrestler of the Year went to Randy Macho Man Savage, with Hulk Hogan, Sting, and Lex Luger as the runner-ups. Most Hated Wrestler of the Year was Andre the Giant, with Barry Windham, Eddie Gilbert, and Ted DiBiase as runner-ups. Match of the Year was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant from the main event, where Andre took the title. Runners-up was Sting versus Flair from the first Clash of the Champions, Jerry Lawler versus Curt Hennig, and the Ultimate Warrior versus the Honky Tonk Man, and that is where Warrior took the Intercontinental title in under 30 seconds. Tag Team of the Year went to Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. Runners-up, the Midnight Express, Demolition, and Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard there. And Wrestler of the Year went to Randy Macho Man Savage, with runners-up Jerry Lawler, Lex Luger, and Ric Flair. So there it is. The Stanley Weston Award. Is that in here? I should show that if it's in here. Oh yeah, that the editor's choice, I guess that's what it was called at the time, went to Adrian Adonis and Bruiser Brody. Of course, um, both of those men unfortunately got killed that year, right? One in a car accident and one in a stupid, brutal stabbing that didn't have to happen. March 1989 for the wrestler. Scared Stiff. Don't say snake. That's when Andre the Giant had a heart attack on Saturday night's main event, thanks to Jake the Snake Roberts, setting up that feud going into WrestleMania 5 that year. If Bigelow can't beat Wyndham, he'll turn bad. Well, Bigelow turned bad a lot anyhow over his career, so that's not a surprise. Oh, by the way, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Dark Side of the Ring will be on Bam Bam Bigelow, so that should be pretty exciting to see. March of 89 for Inside Wrestling. Collision Course. Wrestling isn't big enough for two Midnight Express teams. Here we see beautiful Bobby Eaton, Jim Cornette, and Sweet Stan Lane. On the other side, Randy Rhodes, Paul E. Dangerously, and Dennis Condrey. So there they are. The Midnight Express versus the new original Midnight Express. I don't know what you want to call them, but they had a nice little feud there. Of course, that was when the Midnights lost both titles at the time. They're not neither U.S. Tag Champs or World Tag Champs in that photo. March 89 for Sports Review Wrestling. We have 1988, the year in pictures. We see Savage and Elizabeth there from WrestleMania 4. Hulk Hogan getting rid of that'd be Earl Hebner, Ric Flair and Sting, and Lawler and Von Erich with their respective world titles. Are the photos in color here? Well, we got some in color. So that's always nice to see. It's a sweet shot there of Luger and Flair from, that would be the Great American Bash, yeah. The funny thing is I found about that match, if you look at their tight, Lex is wearing yellow tights, white knee pads, white boots. Flair's wearing white tights, yellow knee pads, white boots. They're pretty much color coordinated in a weird way. There's a bloody Jim Cornette thanks to Paulie Dangerously and the new original Midnight Express. And the most ridiculous turn in history. I believe the story was that fans were going to cheer Mr. Fuji and the Powers of Pain and boo Demolition. That was quite the opposite. Fans went stir crazy for Demolition. Spring of 89 now for Wrestling 89. We got Sting's New Year's resolutions. Destroy the Road Warriors, destroy Barry Windham, destroy Ric Flair. And the Stinger, he did a few of those, right? He did finally defeat Ric Flair in 1990 for the world title. But yeah, there it is. The Stinger made that cover. And for Wrestling Superstars of Spring 89, we got the Superstar Dream match here is Sting versus the Ultimate Warrior, who used to be, of course, tag team partners early in their careers in Memphis and in Mid-South. And we got a photo, full color action gallery here of this man, Barry Windham. It's good to see Barry getting the photos here. Look at that. Good shot of Barry. And we have people talking about him: Blackjack Mulligan, Ric Flair, Scott McGee, Captain Lou Albano, and Kendall Windham. So pretty cool magazine that is if you're a Barry Windham fan. All right. PWI, April 1989. Has Savage signed to wrestle Hogan at WrestleMania 5? The talk is now out there. Are these two going to fight? Are the mega powers going to explode at WrestleMania 5? I don't know. Do they? No. But they do. There it is. Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, is the centerfold for that magazine. The Wrestler, April 1989. Hulkamania runs wild again. Can Randy Savage stop the onslaught? So already, man, they're hyping this big time, right? And that match looks like that's probably from 1986, that Hogan Savage match, probably from Madison Square Garden. And we also got Super Clash, Super Controversy, where they right to stop the Lawler Von Erich bout. Kerry Von Erich was busted wide open, bleeding all over the place, and they gave the match to Lawler and gave the championships to Lawler. Inside Wrestling, April of 89. And there it is there. Super Clash 3, Von Erich versus Lawler. We got Rhodes versus Animal, Flair versus Steiner. Survivor Series 88 stuff going on there. It's a collector's edition, apparently. I don't think there's any colored photos in here. I'll take a look. No. No colored photos. I thought they might with the talk there of all those matches, but nope. April of 89 for Sports Review Wrestling. Starrcade 88, True Grit. There's Lex and Flair again for the world title at Starrcade. Lex just could not defeat Ric Flair for that world title, could he? No matter if it was 1988, 1990, or 1991. And there we see the Savage or Hogan, who's better. So again, they're really kind of getting that set in that these two men, the mega powers, will be colliding eventually along the way. For May 89 for PWI, it's Now More Than Ever, Hulk Hogan Needs You. That's a really old photo of the Hulkster there. That's probably from 1985 with that WWF title and the bandana thing he's wearing there. The poster here is of Missy Hyatt. So Missy gets the poster there for the May 89 edition. May 89 for the Wrestler. Rick Steamboat Champion. Rick Steamboat Challenger. Who's better? Ricky Steamboat, of course, showing back up in the NWA after retiring at WrestleMania 4 the year before. And he was Eddie Gilbert's mystery partner in a tag match against Ric Flair and Barry Windham. And Steamboat pinned Flair in the tag match in the middle of the ring. And now here we see why Dusty Rhodes left the NWA. And Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan ready to rumble. There it is again. They're getting it ready. You can feel it brewing. And it's brewing so much that Inside Wrestling of May of 89 wants to add to it. Hulk Hogan admits, I love Elizabeth like a sister. But, does he? Did he love her a little more than a sister? Right? Who knows? So, adding more gasoline to the fire there Inside Wrestling to make Macho Man go crazy. May 89, Sports Review Wrestling. Axe versus Smash, Hogan versus Savage, alliances crumble at the Royal Rumble. Yes, the Savage Hogan match was getting ready. It was starting right there at the Rumble, and Hogan, of course, eliminated Macho Man from the Rumble that year. And we got Jerry Lawler up here with all three titles, the Memphis title, the Texas title, and the AWA World title. Technically, Jerry Lawler was the first undisputed world champion. It wasn't Chris Jericho. Technically, Lawler was, because he had the three big titles there that weren't WWF or NWA. And then, of course, by WWF owning WCW and AWA and all that footage, I guess technically Jericho really isn't the first. It's Lawler. But the lineage can go back to Lawler, I guess, right? Next up now is June of 1989. For PWI, Hogan versus Savage. How it happened, WrestleMania 5 preview and analysis, and forecast for the future. Well, PWI is pretty much saying this is a done deal. WrestleMania 5 is this match, so enjoy. Colored photo in here of Rick Steamboat, if it's in here. I don't know if it is. Take a look. I don't think I have the... No, I'm missing the Steamboat poster in this one. But there is something interesting in here I want to show you if I can find it here. There it is, page 44. So, I don't know if any of you know this or not, but we actually had the Rock and Roll Express versus the British Bulldogs. It actually happened, and the Bulldogs were the heels of the match, I believe. They were the villains. So this was a show that was done. Everyone thought it was an AWA show that these two teams wrestled at, but it wasn't. I think it was an AWA ring, or it looked like an AWA ring, because the way it was, the color and the ropes and the way it was presented. But no, so the British Bulldogs and the Rock and Roll Express did do business with each other. And I believe that match is on YouTube. I came across it years ago. Now, I don't know if it's still there, but it was there. So if you want to see it, check it out. For the Wrestler, June 89, Ultimate Warrior's Mission Impossible. Destroy Randy Savage for Hulk Hogan. During this time frame, Warrior and Savage were wrestling in title versus title matches, I guess you could say, on house shows, and Savage was winning by countout and such, and walking around with both titles like he's the champ. Kind of like what he did in 86 and 87 when he'd beat Hogan by countout and take the world title. And there we have Lex Luger wins the U.S. title. And he defeated Barry Windham at Chi-Town Rumble. That was a year-long match in the making because Barry turned on Lex in April of 88, costing them the tag titles so Barry could join the Horsemen. And that match finally took place in February of 89. In June of 89 for Inside Wrestling, finally fortune favors the challenger. Rick Steamboat wins Ric Flair's NWA belt. That's at Chi-Town Rumble 289 in Chicago. There it is. Steamboat finally won the World Championship after all these years defeating Ric Flair. At the top, we got Hogan and Savage. Special fan ballot Macho Madness or Hulkamania, which really rules. So, and Rick Morton and Robert Gibson, they had to be friends to become... They had to be enemies to become friends again. So, I guess maybe they did feud for a bit there. Like I said, I wasn't really following the Rock and Roll Express in 1989. So... Chi-Town Rumble makes NWA history for Sports Review Wrestling. June 89, we got Luger wins the U.S. title. Steamboat wins the world title. So there it is right there. That's a great cover photo. I love that cover photo too for some reason. I was a big Lex Luger fan, and I know a lot of people aren't, but I was. I liked Lex. I thought he was awesome. I thought the U.S. title belt looked great around that man's waist, more so than the world title. I thought Lex made a great U.S. champ. And I felt that for Luger being like, people say he's not a very good wrestler, but he had a lot of great matches as U.S. champion. If you go back and look, through 1987 and 1989 and 1990 when he was U.S. champ, just go back and watch sometime. He had some really stellar, solid matches. For what's the next one? What was that? That was June 89. So, right here. Wrestling 89 for the summertime. We got Mega Powers. They can put the pieces together again, but they didn't. Unfortunately, by then, WrestleMania 5 was set. It's a done deal. We were going to see the Mega Powers explode. And for Wrestling Superstars Summer 89, we got the top 20 stars of pro wrestling at the time. And we got the Superstar Dream match of Animal versus Hawk. Oh, is there a colored photo in here too? I should take a look and see. Oh, it's just going over the top 20 stars. Nothing too special. Not like it's highlighting one person individually. Yeah. For July 1989 for PWI, we got Rick Steamboat. I'm not a real champ until I beat Luger and Sting. That's interesting, but at the time, Steamboat was pretty much only wrestling Ric Flair in title matches, I think. So I guess he wanted other competitors, which would make sense. We got a poster in here on Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. Of course, Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 5, doing the Piper's Pit. And the night they carried Hulk Hogan away on a stretcher, that was thanks to Dino Bravo and the fabulous Rougeau brothers at a house show, actually. I think Ronnie Garvin and Jim Duggan were Hogan's partners, I believe, in that match. The Wrestler, July 89. And here it is right here. Dino Bravo, the man Hulk Hogan cannot beat. So they're hyping up Dino Bravo now. Ric Flair's chilling vow, I've broken Steamboat's will, now I'll break his legs. And it says here, why Paul Ellering split up the Road Warriors. I guess Animal and Hawk were doing solo stuff at the time here. I'm not too sure. Inside Wrestling, July 89. Mega Powers 2. It's time for the Ultimate Warrior and Sting to reunite. No, it's not. I don't think they would have worked then. I think they had like the same face paint deal, but their wrestling was way too different. Their personalities were way too different. Their gimmicks were way too different. It wouldn't work. And it says here, is Jimmy Hart Randy Savage's secret manager? No, he is not. 4. Sports Review Wrestling. July 89. It's the special section WrestleMania 5 complete match-by-match coverage. We see champ Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan, Hacksaw Duggan, Rick Rude, and tag champions Demolition there. I don't think there's any colored photos. No color photo. I wish they would have done colored photos. It would have made those magazines a little more fun, right? When it came to the events and the pay-per-views and such. August of 89 for PWI. Super Sunday, Hulkamania Reborn. Hulk Hogan regains the WWF World Title. Ultimate Warrior dethroned. Rick Rude captures the WWF IC belt. And NWA Stunner, the Road Warriors lose the World Tag titles. They lost them to Mike Rotundo and Steve Dr. Death Williams. But look at this. This picture of Hulk Hogan is from like 1985. Like, really? They couldn't find a later photo of any kind with Hogan with the title? Jeez. And there we have Lex Luger, the total package, as the centerfold. For August 89, for the wrestler, we got Supercard Sunday. We got Hogan and Savage from WrestleMania 5, Steamboat and Flair from Clash of the Champions. That's where they did their 60-minute match on live TV. So that's how they competed with each other, doing, pay-per-view versus live wrestling on cable. So we got some colored photos in here, thankfully, which is always nice to see, like I said. And then we got Dethroned and Demoralized. Can Randy Savage recover from WrestleMania 5? He did. In a few, was it 2 months later, I think, or so, he became the Macho King, Randy Savage, when he dethroned Hacksaw Jim Duggan for that. It may have been later. It may have been 6 months later, but I do know sometime in 1989, Macho defeated Duggan to win that crown. The literal crown, right? For August 89 for Inside Wrestling, it says your ballots are in. Hulkamania rules, stating Hulkamania is better than Macho Madness. And we got too many contenders, too little time. Steamboat's championship dilemma. There he is against Ron Simmons in a match. I didn't know Steamboat and Simmons ever worked each other, so that's neat to see there. That's one thing I love about these old wrestling magazines. You sometimes come across things you just had no idea happened because the photo's there. The photo proves it, right? So that's very cool. August 89 for Sports Review Wrestling. Lex Luger and Sting, will their friendly rivalry lead to an all-out war? It did, eventually, in when Luger turned heel in 89, and again in 91 when Luger turned heel. So, and then we want Ultimate Warrior on our side, says the rule breakers of the WWF. So let's see what's next. We got now September of 89. I didn't know I had this magazine, or I would have put it in like my anniversary video I did of things. This is PWI's sensational 10th anniversary issue. So I guess I honestly didn't know I had this because I didn't have it as a kid, so I didn't even know it existed. I must have got it in my lot of collection of these and had no clue it existed. But that's pretty cool. They got like a lot of colored photos in here again, which is always fun to see in these. There's Tommy Rich. We got the Road Warriors from Georgia, Championship Wrestling, that Macho Man and $1 Million Man, highlighting his magazine covers and such. So that's kind of neat. This is a cool one to get. September 1989, if anyone out there is looking to snag that for their collection. September 89 for the wrestler. Our urgent plea to Ric Flair, don't wrestle Terry Funk. This, of course, when Flair won back the NWA World title from Rick Steamboat at WrestleWar 89, and Terry Funk destroyed him with a pile driver on the table. And back then, those tables weren't like what you see today, where they break easy. That was like a hardcore, rock hard table, because it didn't break, right? Funk just kind of bounced Flair's head off of it at the time, so... And that says, get real, Zeus. Hulk Hogan will tear you apart. That's right, Zeus. Hollywood actor Tiny Lister Jr. is now in pro wrestling. He is tagging up with the Macho Man Randy Savage to go after Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. September 89 for Inside Wrestling. Savage is shamed by Hogan. Only Elizabeth can save him now. So, again, Hogan and Savage still doing their thing, still getting the magazine coverage here. We get Lex Luger. I pity the man who calls me Lex Luger. That's his name. Let me do that again. I pity the man who calls me Lex Loser. There we go. Though it would be funny if he got angry that people called him. Maybe they would. Maybe he wanted to go back to Lex Luger, right? The AR, Lex Luger. Dusty Rhodes returns to the WWF. That's right. The American Dream returned, and he brought the polka dots with him, baby. Which, of course, at the time, I was a kid when he was doing that, and I honestly didn't care that he was wearing polka dots. I don't know. I think the only ones who probably cared were like the older generation who remembered Dusty from, all the territories and the Starcades and whatnot. I didn't. I mean, I knew of Dusty Rhodes in the NWA, but when he came to the WWF, I just thought, wow, Dusty Rhodes is here. But that wasn't really that much of a shock because, wow, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard are here. Or, wow, Barry Windham as the Widowmaker is here. Or, wow, Rugged Rodney Garvin is here. Like, I was seeing NWA stars jump ship. So to see Dusty Rhodes come in with polka dots was no different than seeing Animal and Hawk show up with red shoulder pads instead of black and silver, right? They had red and black. It was just, I think a lot of fans really took Dusty wearing the polka dots to be a bigger deal than it needed to be, right? It didn't matter. And as Dusty even said, those polka dots got him a lot of money. So good for him. Up next, we got September 89 for Sports Review Wrestling. The 20 facts you never knew about Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So that's apparently needed to be made aware for people. I don't know why, but there they are. If you ever want to know the 20 facts about Hacksaw Jim Duggan, get September 89 Sports Review Wrestling. And it says, disaster awaits a Flair Steamboat tag team. Never happened. Steamboat left after June of 89 or July of 89, something like that. He, I think it was July now. He turned, after he lost the belt to Flair, he wrestled Terry Funk at Clash of the Champions, and then wrestled Lex Luger for the U.S. title at the next pay-per-view, which would have been the Great American Bash, and then that was it. Steamboat was gone again. For fall of 89, for Wrestling 89, we got Flair and Turner, Lifestyles of the Rick and Famous, because Ted Turner, of course, owning World Championship Wrestling. Hogan, how long can he stay champ? Well, it took him a year. WrestleMania 5 through 6. There's a sweet bloody photo of Dusty Rhodes, Bam Bam Bigelow there. That must have been when Dusty had his own organization down in Florida at the time. So they don't have any colored, like actual colored photos in here now. No. Or wait, I'm thinking Wrestling Superstars has that. I'm sorry. Yeah, this one then. Hogan and Steamboat versus Savage and Flair is that one. That's a dream match. Let's take a look at this. The poster, and there's no poster in this one either. So there we go. All right then. I am clearly off on the posters here. For October 89 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, we got Muscle for Muscle, who's more awesome, Luger or Hogan. These two, of course, would end up wrestling each other on the second ever WCW Monday Nitro. And, of course, again, in 1997 on Nitro, where Lex Luger defeated Hollywood Hogan to win the world title, and wrestling them at the pay-per-views as well and such. They had okay matches. I didn't mind Hogan and Luger matches. I thought they were good. They were entertaining. And Ravishing Rick Rude is the centerfold for that edition, October 89. October 89 for The Wrestler. I had this magazine as a kid. I remember owning this one. It's No Holds Barred, Hogan and Beefcake versus Savage and Zeus, an exclusive preview and analysis. They would be wrestling at SummerSlam 89 that year, as well as a special in December 89 called No Holds Barred, The Match, the Movie, where you get to see the movie. And you can see a cage match with these two where Macho Man Randy Savage bleeds all over it. They try to cut it away so you can't see it, but Macho Man is a bloody mess in that match. Michael Hayes, I Made Lex Luger a Man. That's because Michael Hayes defeated Lex Luger for the United States Heavyweight title, held it for 3 weeks, lost it back to Luger, and then Luger turned heel. So Michael Hayes, in his mind, thought he was the reason that Lex Luger did all that. For October 89 for Inside Wrestling, Dusty Rhodes WWF Hit List. Ted DiBiase, check. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, Barry Windham, Hulk Hogan? Well, no, I don't. Dusty didn't get a chance to work with Tully or Arn. He didn't. He may have wrestled Rude in a match. I don't know. He didn't work with Windham because Windham was gone, and he didn't work Hogan, of course. Dusty ended up working. Let's see, Big Boss Man, Macho King Randy Savage, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Those were his big opponents there. The Samoan SWAT team roughs up the Road Warriors, and Paul Ellering loves it. So I remember that. That's when Paulie Dangerously managed the Fatu and Samu. So there's some history there with the Samoans and Paul Heyman, right? October 89 for Sports Review Wrestling. Savage versus Hogan. SummerSlam will not end this war. That is true. And what a great year that was for 1989. If you love Savage and Hogan matches, just amazing. The Great American Bash Tour. I wonder if there's colored photos in here. No, it's all black and white. How much cooler would that be if there was all colored, eh? All right, next stop here. We got November 89 for PWI. Dusty Rhodes, alone and in danger. He's all by himself in the WWF, and there's a lot of enemies there who still want to get a hold of him. And he just went through you saw the enemies on that checklist there. So, and then we got a poster here of the NWA World Champion, Nature Boy, Ric Flair, looking as swell as he can look. November 1989 for the wrestler. Roddy Piper pins Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan is scared stiff. Piper gets a win over the Macho Man at a house show, I guess. So Piper, of course, wearing like long tights here. Not like long tights, but like, like the Billy Gunn style shorts, or stuff like that, right? So interesting look for Piper there. Inside Wrestling, November 89. Please, Elizabeth, don't wrestle Sherry. Imagine this face mangled. Yes, that would not be good. Miss Elizabeth was not a wrestler. She was a valet. Sherry, however, was a wrestler and could kick probably a lot of the men's asses in pro wrestling. So we don't need to see those two go at it. 4. Sports Review Wrestling. November 89. Hulk Hogan's toughest matches. There he is getting destroyed by the Big Boss Man. Fear of failure. The truth behind Snuka's feud with Honky Tonk Man. That's right, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, now back in the WWF, came back at WrestleMania 5 as well. Sting, the fans did a number on my face. Yeah, Sting, your makeup there looks like Road Warrior Animals, so interesting. For December of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Young and Restless, not the soap opera show with Victor Newman. No, this is the NWA's future in their hands. We got Lex Luger sitting on a sweet chair, Sid Vicious looking like he's ready to ride a motorcycle, the Great Muta looking like he's ready to take a shit, and Sting just flexing. So that's pretty sweet. For the colored photo here, we got the man right there, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That looks like a photo from like 1983 maybe. So pretty cool though. December 89 for the wrestler. Gary Hart. Muta took the sting out of Sting. That was a great feud there for the TV title between Muta and the Stinger. And the Rock and Roll Express takes a walk on the wild side and gets mugged. That must be something to do in Memphis, I'm guessing. And the Ultimate Warrior there. So it says here, Widowmaker Barry Windham. Angry, mean, unstoppable. That sounds like Barry. Inside Wrestling. Dusty Road is paved with gold. The American Dream lives on. That's a very, very old picture of Dusty there. Don't be deceived, world. Ric Flair is wrestling's greatest con artist. And it says, full results of SummerSlam 89. There's Hulk Hogan and Zeus up there on the cover. Sports Review Wrestling for December 89. Full coverage of wrestling's hottest summer ever. You got Hulk Hogan tangles with Zeus at SummerSlam 89. The Great American Bash with Terry Funk pile driving Ric Flair. And A Decade of Glory, the Intercontinental title. Let's take a look at that. Whoa. Actually, first of all, we got colored photos in here. Look at that. The Great American Bash. We see a bloodied Funk and a bloody Flair. There's a Great Muta attacking Eddie Gilbert with a Singapore cane. Look at that. We got a War Games match going on there. We got SummerSlam 89. That was so weird that the Brainbusters wrestled the Hart Foundation in a non-title match. That would have been so much better if the tag titles were on the line. So that's pretty cool. Well, let's see if I'm going to find out these great Intercontinental champions here. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. We got Pat Patterson on that list, the first one. We have Ken Patera. We got Pedro Morales. the Magnificent Morocco, Tito Santana, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Randy Macho Man Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the Honky Tonk Man, the Ultimate Warrior, and Ravishing Rick Rude. I'm going to take a guess that those are the only 10 Intercontinental Champions we had at the time, so they're not really the greatest. They're just, that's it. That's all there is. That's Wrestling 89. Hulk Hogan, what sets him apart? This is for winter of 89 here. That's an old photo of the Hulkster there, probably from 1986, 87. We see Lex Luger, Randy Savage, Rick Rude, Sting, the Ultimate Warrior, and NWA World Champion Ric Flair on the cover there. And last but not least, Wrestling Superstars. It's the Superstar Dream Match, Elizabeth versus Sensational Sherry, plus the top 20 tag teams in in-depth analysis of them. You see the Road Warriors, Demolition, and Jim Garvin and Michael Hayes there on the cover. So that's it. 1989. I was 8 years old at the time. And, 1989 was like my first real year that I actually watched wrestling pay-per-views live. But the first one I ever saw was the Royal Rumble. And I remember back then it aired on a Saturday. And it aired at 4 p.m. That's when it started, at 4 p.m. And I remember thinking how long it took to get to 4 p.m. I'd wake up, at like 10 in the morning and watch WWF Superstars at 11. And, WCW, I think, was on at like 1 p.m. And I was thinking, man, it's taking forever to get to 4 p.m. And really, it doesn't, right? Time goes by so fast now that now it's before you know it, it's 4 p.m. because it's just the way the world is. But when you're a kid, time slows down, especially in that era when there wasn't like the internet or anything to really entertain you, right? You couldn't stream stuff. There was nothing like that. It was whatever was on TV or whatever you had on VHS to watch. But yeah, in 1989 was the first time I saw wrestling pay-per-view, like I said, Royal Rumble. I saw that live. I saw WrestleMania 5 live. I saw SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and the No Holds Barred thing all live when they took place and aired. I did not see any of the WCW pay-per-views or Clash of the Champions because I didn't have cable TV. I just went to my friend's house and we used to watch the wrestling on the really big satellite dishes, right? Those big black satellite dishes people had where you just had to like turn it and somehow you get the wrestling in for free without paying for it. But yeah, so that was it. 1989 was like my first real year that I got to see live pay-per-view wrestling. It was just a really fun year in a way. The Mega Powers exploding. Ric Flair turning babyface and him and Sting forming an alliance against Great Muta and Terry Funk and them. Just a really cool era. And kind of like a changing of the guard era for things too, right? You just kind of see that the golden era of the 80s was definitely changing in 1989 as we were getting ready for a new decade and new things to come in the years of the 90s. So what was everyone's favorite moment of 1989? Did you have a favorite pay-per-view, a favorite match, a favorite wrestling organization? Were you a WWF guy or an NWA/WCW guy, right? Like there's both gave a lot of good stuff in 1989. Both gave a lot of bad stuff too, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of hokey stuff and a lot of crap as well. But to me, I feel the good outweigh the bad when looking back at this stuff. But maybe that's just through, rose-tinted glasses, right? Nostalgia is a very biased thing, right? When you think back to things, especially when you don't like the product now or really care for what you're seeing. So, all right. Again, I have like 118 subscribers now, so that's freaking cool. Thank you so much for subscribing and taking this wild ride with me and doing this. I hope you guys keep following. I hope you guys keep watching and liking and commenting. I appreciate every one of you who does. And I'm sorry I couldn't find a sweet photo of Zeke Zanzibar in this video like I found in the 1987 one with George the Animal Steel. But maybe I'll come across something again for you, Zeke. I know you're a big fan and you watch this, so if I can find another person who looks like you, who's bald and hairy, then I'll definitely let you know. All right, though. Again, thanks for everyone watching, and again, until I do another video, I'll talk to you guys later.